Putangina. Dalawang salita lang yan, pero iyan ang eksaktong tumatakbo sa utak ko habang pinapanood ko ang anak kong si Sophie na mag-transform into a teeny, screaming banshee sa gitna ng EVA Terminal 3 Departure Lounge. Hindi ko na alam kung saan pa ako pupulutin sa kahihiyan. Ang EVA ng Samaniego Group of Companies, tinalo ng isang 3 anyos na nagwawala. Para akong hostage sa sarili kong anak, dito pa sa gitna ng airport. Isang iyak. Dalawang iyak. 10 minuto. 20 minutos. Shit! Feeling ko, 1 oras na yatang walang tigil na iyak na parang sirang plakang nagpapaalala sa lahat ng tao dito kung gaano ako ka-failure bilang ama. At bilang isang Paul Samaniego na sanay sa control, this was pure, unadulterated chaos. Nakakabingi. Nakakawala ng matinong pag-iisip. Sophie, please, anak, stop crying na, pakiusap ko, for the eggiest time, Judy voice trained, a pathetic contrast to the authoritative tone used in boardrooms. Halos lumuhod na ako sa harap ng stroller niya, inaalok ang paborito niyang stuffed toy na si Barnaby the Bear, pati na iyong mamahaling tablet na puno ng cartoons. Pero parang lalo lang siyang ginaganahan. Her small face was flushed a violent shade of red, puffy from all the crying, tears streaming down like mini waterfalls, snot bubbling from her nose. Ang mga maliliit niyang kamay, parang mini windmill na kumakaway sa ere, tinatabig ang anumang iabot ko. Waa! I want mommy. I want mommy. Ayoko kay daddy. Bad daddy, sigaw niya, at bawat di mommy na binibitiwan niya, bawat bad daddy na sumusunod, parang kutsilyong paulit-ulit na sumasaksak sa dibdib ko. Her mom. Si Clarice. Kung nandito lang sana siya pero wala. At hinding-hindi na siya babalik. Napapikit ako ng mariin, trying to push away the familiar pang of grief and guilt. Control, Paul. Control. Bullshit. Anong control? The stares were getting unbearable. Dati, sanay akong tinitingnan ng mga tao, admiration, respect, sometimes envy. Pero ngayon, ang mga tingin nila, puro husga. Yung iba, maihalong awa. Yung iba naman, parang gusto na akong batuhin ng sapatos para lang tumahimik yung anak ko. May isang matandang babae na kanina pa umiiling-iling, bumubulong sa kasama niya. Siguro sinasabi, kawawang bata, napunta sa walang kwentang ama. O baka naman, naku, kung anak ko yan, matagal ko nang napingot yan. I could almost hear their thoughts. And my expensive suit felt too tight, in the silk tie suddenly inuse. Ang init, parang nasa impyerno ako, kahit na full blast ang aircon ng airport. Anak, we're going to see Lolo and Lola in Cebu. Remember? They have the new puppy for you, I tried again, desperation lacing Divi voice. It's chocolate puppy. No. I don't want puppy. I want mommy. Wah! The wail intensified, if that was even possible. Napasabunot ako sa sarili kong buhok. Eve's carefully styled hair, now probably looking as chaotic as it felt. LFEA, si Arthur, who was usually a godsend, looked equally helpless, standing a few feet away, wringing his hands, probably contemplating resigning on the spot. Sino ba namang gustong magtrabaho para sa isang boss na hindi kayang patahanin ang sariling anak? Yeve's phone vibrated in Div's pocket. Probably a reminder for the Cebu meeting. The very reason was dragging Sophie through this ordeal. A multi-billion peso deal was on the line. Pero sa mga oras na to, wala akong pakialam sa kahit anong deal. Ang gusto ko lang, tumigil na si Sophie sa pag-iyak. Kahit kapalit pa ng isang buong kumpanya. And then, parang may anghel na bumaba mula sa fluorescent lit langit ng Eve. Or maybe, I was just hallucinating from stress and lack of sleep. Isang babae ang lumapit. Simple lang siya. Nakasuot ng plain white t-shirt, faded denim pants, at tsinelas. May dala siyang backpack na mukhang luma na pero malinis. Her hair was tied in a simple ponytail, a few stray strands framing a face that was gentle. Yun ang unang salitang pumasok sa isip ko. Gentle. Walang makeup or kung meron man, sobrang nipis, halos hindi halata. She looked like she belongs more in a quiet library or peaceful garden than in this noisy, chaotic airport lounge. For a second, I thought she was going to offer some unsolicited, annoying advice like everyone else who dared to make eye contact. Nakaready na yung irap ko, yung mind your own business glare ko. Pero imbes na magsalita sa akin, dahan-dahan siyang lumuhod sa harap ni Sophie. Same level. Eye to eye. Hi, sweetie, she said, her voice surprisingly soft, parang bulong na may himig. Hindi yung pilit na mataas na boses na ginagamit ng ibang tao pag kinakausap ang mga bata. Hers was natural, calming. Ang ganda naman ng dress mo. Favorite mo ba ang pink? Sophie's crying hitched. Nag-transform yung full-blown wail niya into a series of hiccupping sobs. Nakatingin siya sa babae, mata pa rin puno ng luha, pero may bahid na ng curiosity. Hindi ko alam. Basta, nabawasan yung galit sa mga mata niya. The woman smiled, a small, genuine smile. Hindi siya tumingin sa akin, focused lang siya kay Sophie. Alam mo ba, may kilala akong bunny na mahilig din sa pink. Ang pangalan niya si Rainbow Bunny. Rainbow Bunny. What the hell? Pero bago pa ako makapag-react, bago pa ako makapagsabi ng kimis, I can handle this, which was blatantly, obviously, Sophie sniffled. A rainbow. Be Bunny, she stammered, her voice tinny and hoarse. The woman nodded, her eyes twinkling a little. Si Rainbow Bunny. Nakatira siya sa isang cloud na kasing lambot ng cotton candy. And every time na malungkot siya, or natatakot, alam mo anong ginagawa niya? Sophie, still sniffling, slowly shook her head. Even Arthur, Div.E.A., had crept closer, looking intrigued. Ako. Nakatayo lang ako doon, parang estatwa, watching the stranger weave some kind of magic on his daughter. He closes his eyes, the woman continued, her voice still, gentle murmur, and he imagines all the colors of the rainbow. Red for courage, orange for happiness, yellow for sunshine, green for new adventures, blue for calm skies, indigo for dreams, and violet for magic. Tapos, humihinga siya ng malalim, in and out, tapos pagbukas niya ng mata niya, a little bit of that sadness is gone, pinalitan ng kulay ng rainbow. She then took very slow, deliberate breath, her chest rising and falling gently. Like this. Hoo! Ha-adi. To my utter astonishment, Sophie, diva defiant, inconsolable Sophie, mirrored the action. A shaky little inhale, a slightly longer exhale. Hoo! Ha-adi. The woman smiled wider. Good job. See? Parang si Rainbow Bunny. Gusto mo, kirisay natin ulit? Close your eyes now, imagine big, beautiful red for being brave, kasi ang tapang-tapang mo. Sophie's eyelids, heavy with tears and exhaustion, fluttered closed. Nag-concentrate siya. Her little brows furrowed slightly. Now orange like the sweet, juicy orange. Para happy ka, G. Slowly, miraculously, Sophie's breathing evened out. The tension in her small body seemed to melt away. The red in her face began to subside. Ang mga kamay niyang kanina lang ay nananabig, ngayon ay nakapatong na lang sa lap niya. The woman continued, taking Sophie through the colors, her voice a soothing balm. Hindi ko naintindihan lahat ng sinasabi niya, parang maihalo-halong Tagalog at English, pero ang epekto kay Sophie, undeniable. Para siyang na-hypnotize. Or maybe, for the first time in a long time, someone was speaking her language, not the language of ice trying to negotiate, but the language of gentle understanding. After a few minutes, which felt like an eternity of suspended disbelief for me, Sophie opened her eyes. The tears were still there, clinging to her lashes, but the storm had passed. She looked at the woman, not with anger or fear, but with dazed, almost adoring expression. Then, she did something that nearly made my jaw drop to the floor. She reached out a small, hesitant hand and touched the woman's arm. Rainbow Bunny, she whispered. The woman chuckled softly. Yes, sweetie. Rainbow Bunny will always be there for you. Sa imagination mo. She then gently fished out a small, slightly crumpled tissue from her pocket and carefully wiped Sophie's tear-streaked face. Ayan, much better. Ang ganda-ganda mo pa naman pag nakasmile. And Sophie smiled. A small, watery smile, but a smile nonetheless. It was the most beautiful thing I had seen all day. All week, even. Nakatulala lang ako. Completely and utterly stunned. Sino tong babaeng to? Isang child psychologist. Isang magician. An angel. Kanina lang, impyerno ang pakiramdam ko. Ngayon, parang biglang gumaan. Hindi pa completely, pero may pag-asa. The woman stood up, brushing off her jeans. Finally, her eyes met mine. They were kind. No judgment, no smugness. Just kindness. Para siyang nahihiya pa nga. Pasensya na po sa abala. Narinig ko lang po kasi siyang umiiyak, she said, her voice a bit flustered now that she was addressing me. Alis na rin po ako, baka maiwan ako ng flight ko. Flight? Oh, right. This was an airport. People had places to go. Wait, I managed to say, in my own voice sounding raw. Thank you. I don't know how you did that, but thank you. I fumbled for my wallet. Let me compensate you for your time. She looked genuinely surprised, then shook her head quickly. Naku, sir, hindi po kailangan. Okay lang po. Basta okay na po yung bata. She gave Sophie one last gentle smile. Bye-bye, sweetie. Remember Rainbow Bunny, okay? Sophie, unbelievably, waved a teeny hand. Bye-bye. Eighty. Eight. My daughter just called a complete stranger eight. The woman started to turn, ready to merge back into the bustling crowd. Wait. Miss. I called out, sense of panic rising. Your name. Didn't get your name. She paused, looked back, a small, almost heavy smile on her lips. Jane Poe. Jane de Leon. And just like that, before I could say anything else, before I could properly thank her or ask for her number or offer her job on the spot as Sophie's personal miracle worker, she was gone. Nilamon na siya ng mga taong nagmamadali, ng mga anunsyo ng flight, ng ingay ng airport. Naiwan akong nakatayo doon, si Sophie ngayon ay tahimik na nakaupo sa stroller, medyo inaantok na, clutching the now soggy tissue Jane had given her as if it were a precious treasure. Arthur was staring at me, his mouth slightly agape. Sir, anong nangyari? He finally asked, his voice full of disbelief. I shook my head, still trying to process everything. I have no idea, Arthur. I honestly have no idea. The tension in the air had dissipated, but new kind of feeling settled in its place. Gulat. Pag-asa, definitely. Pero higit sa lahat, intriga. Jane de Leon. Ang babaeng pinatahimik ang iyaking si Sophie. Ang babaeng nagpakita sa akin na may magic pa pala sa mundo, kahit saan yun ang isang kwento tungkol sa isang rainbow bunny. Nawala siya sa paningin ko, pero habang naglalakad kami papunta sa boarding gate, si Sophie ay mahimbing nang natutulog sa stroller, a faint smile on her lips, hindi na siya mawala sa isipan ko. Sino ka, Jane de Leon? At paano kita muling mahahanap? Ang flight papuntang Cebu, for the first time in what felt like forever, was peaceful. Si Sophie, himala, natulog halos buong biyahe. Yakap-yakap niya yung tissue na binigay ni Jane, na medyo naging gusot-gusot na bola na lang, pero parang ito yung pinaka-comforting na bagay sa mundo para sa kanya. Minsan, sa gitna ng pagtulog niya, napapangiti siya. Hindi ko mapigilang mapangiti rin. For a fleeting moment, nakalimutan ko yung billions na deal, yung stress ng kumpanya. Ang nakikita ko lang, yung anak kong payapa. Salamat kay Jane. Jane. Her name echoed in my mind. Jane de Leon. Paulit-ulit. Parang isang kantang hindi ko may alis sa ulo ko. Sino ka ba talaga? At bakit ganun na lang ang epekto mo sa anak ko? Paglapag namin sa Mactan Cebu International Airport, at habang hinihintay namin yung bagahe, si Arthur na ang nag-asikaso kay Sophie, na ngayon ay gising na at medyo nag-iinat-inat pa. Ako naman, I was on his phone, already barking instructions to Invisible team. Business as usual. Or so I tried to project. Pero may parte sa utak ko na hindi mapakali. Daddy, Sophie suddenly said, tugging at the trousers. Sa kabilang kamay niya, bukod sa gusot na tissue, may hawak siyang isang company V, medyo luma na, nakalamina. Nakasabit pa yung lace na kulay blue. What's this, anak? Kinuha ko. In my heart skipped a beat. Nanlaki ang mga mata ko. Jane A. De Leon. Staff. Reyes Department Store, Cubao Branch. May maliit na picture niya. Simple lang, naka-uniform, pero yung ngiti. Yun yung ngiting nakita ko kanina. Yung ngiting nagpatigil sa mundo ni Sophie. Saan mo nakuha to, baby? Tanong ko, trying to keep the voice even, pero sa loob-loob ko, parang may bombang sumabog. Hope. Pure, unadulterated hope. Sophie just shrugged, then pointed towards her small pink backpack. Sa bag ate. 8 foot. Naiwan niya. Naiwan ni Jane ang niya sa bag ni Sophie. Siguro noong inaayos niya yung gamit ni Sophie o noong niyakap niya ito. This was my lead. Arthur, tawag ko, medyo napalakas. Napalingon ang ilang tao sa amin. Arthur practically materialized beside me. Yes, Sir Paul. I thrust the D into his hand. Find her. Hanapin mo siya. I want all information about this Jane De Leon. Address, contact number, everything. Now. Arthur blinked, looked at the E, then back at me. A flicker of understanding crossed his face. Right away, sir. Kinuha niya agad ang phone niya at nagsimulang mag-dial. He was efficient. That's all I kept him. The Cebu trip was a blur of meetings and site visits. Si Sophie, medyo naging clingy sa akin, pero wala na yung matinding tantrums. Paminsan-minsan, binabanggit niya si Ate Jane at yung Rainbow Bunny. Each mention was a fresh stab of urgency for me. Kailangan kong mahanap si Jane. Hindi lang para kay Sophie. Para na rin sa sarili kong kapayapaan ng isip. 2 days later, back in Manila, Arthur finally had news. Sir, I found her. Jane De Leon. Nakatira po sa Barangay San Felipe sa Quezon City. Single, 26 years old. Nakatira kasama ang lola niya, Myrna De Leon. Wala na po siyang parents. Based sa Z, she used to work at Reyes Department Store, pero more than a year na siyang wala doon. Medyo mahirap po silang hanapin kasi lumipat na rin sila ng bahay from their last known address. Good. Anong address nila ngayon? Arthur gave me the address. Isang maliit na eskinita sa loob ng Birgis. San Felipe. The next morning, is Saturday, instead of heading to the golf course as usually did, I found myself in a black SUV, navigating the narrow streets of San Felipe. Si Arthur ang nagda-drive. Medyo naninibago ako sa paligid. Makipot ang daan, magkakadikit ang mga bahay, maraming bata ang naglalaro sa kalsada, mga tindahan sa gilid-gilid, at yung amoy ng nilulutong ulam na humahalo sa hangin. It was a world away from a sterile, air-conditioned mansion in Forbes Park. Dito na po yun, sir, Arthur said, gesturing towards a small, unpainted bungalow with a rusty gate. May maliit na bakuran sa harap, puno ng mga nakasampay na damit at ilang paso ng halaman. May naririnig kaming tawa ng isang matandang babae at yung tunog ng palanggana at tubig. Mukhang may naglalaba. I took deep breath. Okay, Paul. What are you going to say? Hi, I'm the desperate CA whose kid you magically calm down, and I need you to do it again, permanently. That sounded pathetic. Hintayin mo ako dito, Arthur. Yes, sir. Bumaba ako ng sasakyan. Agad napansin ng ilang chismosa sa kanto ang pagdating ng isang mamahaling AV sa kanilang lugar. May mga bumubulong, may mga sumisilip sa bintana. For a moment, I felt like an alien. Naka-casual polo shirt lang ako at slacks, pero parang ang formal ko pa rin para sa lugar na to. Dahan-dahan akong lumapit sa gate. Nakabukas ito ng kaunti. Sumilip ako. Doon, sa maliit na batalan, nakita ko siya. Si Jane. Nakapambahay lang, isang lumang t-shirt at shorts. Nakatali pa rin ang buhok niya, pero mas magulo ngayon, may ilang hibla na dumidikit sa noo niyang pinagpapawisan. Pawis na pawis siya, kinukusot ang isang puting kumot sa isang malaking batya. Katabi niya, isang matandang babae, si Lola Merna siguro, na nakaupo sa isang maliit na bangkito, nagpupunas ng mga plato. Pareho silang tumatawa sa kung anong pinag-uusapan nila. Ang simple ng eksena. Ang payapa. For a second, I hesitated. Parang ang sama kong istorbohin sila. Pero naaalala ko ang mga iyak ni Sophie. Naaalala ko yung temporary peace na naramdaman ko. I cleared in my throat. Excuse me. Napahinto sila sa pagtawa. Sabay silang napalingon sa akin. Si Lola Merna, ngumiti. Ay, Hijo. May kailangan ka? Pero si Jane. Yung mga mata niya nanlaki. Gulat na gulat. Nabitawan niya yung kumot na hawak niya, lumubog ulit sa tubig na may sabon. Sir, she stammered, her face a mixture of shock and confusion. Anong ginagawa niyo dito? Lola Merna looked from Jane to me, then back to Jane. Kilala mo siya, Apo? Oo po, Lola. Siya po, yung sa airport. I offered what hope was a polite, non-threatening smile. Good morning po. Po sa Maniego po. Hinahanap ko po si Jane. Ay, ako nga po si Jane, mabilis niyang sabi, pinupunasan ang mga kamay niya sa gilid ng shorts niya. Pasok po kayo, sir. Pasensya na po sa abala, ganito lang po talaga dito sa amin. She seemed flustered, embarrassed even. Pumasok ako sa maliit nilang bakuran. Lola Merna offered me the small bangkito, but I politely declined. May kape kami, iho, kung gusto mo, alok ni Lola Merna, her eyes kind and curious. Salamat na lang po. Hindi po ako magtatagal, I said, then turned to Jane. Kailangan kong maging direkta. Wala akong oras para sa paligoy-ligoy. Jane, I'm here because of my daughter, Sophie. Her expression softened a bit at the mention of Sophie. Kumusta na po siya, sir? She's better. Thanks to you. Pero she keeps asking for you. For 8 Jane. Nakita ko ang bahagyang pamumula ng pisngi ni Jane. Talaga po? Nako, natutuwa po ako kung nakatulong ako kahit papaano. You did more than help, Jane. Paused, choosing the words carefully. This was the tricky part. The truth is, I've been having a hard time with Sophie ever since her mother passed away. She's usually very difficult, especially with strangers. Pero sa'yo iba. Hindi ako maniniwala kung di ko nakita. Sophie needs you. Jane stared at me, her mouth slightly open. Si Lola Merna naman, nakikinig lang pero may matalas na tingin sa mga mata. Needs me po. Para saan po, sir? Tanong ni Jane, bakas ang pag-aalangan sa boses. Here goes nothing. I want to offer you a job, Jane. I want you to be Sophie's yaya. Her nanny. Katahimikan. Ang tanging maririnig lang ay ang huni ng mga ibon at ang malayong sigawan ng mga batang naglalaro. Si Jane, parang nabingi. Kumurap-kurap siya. Po. Iyaya. Ako po. Tumingin siya sa lola niya na parang humihingi ng saklolo. Then back at me. Sir, nagkakamali po yata kayo. Hindi po ako marunong mag-alaga ng bata in that way. Samba lang po siguro yung sa airport. I don't believe in samba, Jane. Not when it comes to the daughter. I pulled out the phone and showed her the picture I took of Sophie sleeping peacefully on the plane, still clutching the tissue. This was her after you talked to her. First time in months she slept that soundly during a flight. Jane looked at the picture, a small, almost sad smile playing on her lips. Pero, sir, bakit ako? Marami naman pong iba dyan na mas kwalipikado. May mga agency po para dyan. Her voice was laced with genuine pag-atubili, almost bordering on fear. Her eyes darted around, anywhere but at me. Parang may iniiwasan siyang maalala. Worried sa past trauma ng pagiging househelp, the outline had said. Ito na siguro yun. I've tried agencies, Jane. I've tried qualified nannies. None of them worked. Si Sophie, she chose you. It sounded cheesy, even to my own ears, but it was the truth. Pero ang layo po ng mundo natin, sir, she said softly, almost a whisper. Isa lang po akong simpleng tao. Baka po hindi ako mag-fit sa pamumuhay niyo. Her honesty was disarming. She wasn't angling for a higher salary or playing hard to get. She genuinely seemed hesitant, almost scared. Lola Myrna, who had been quiet all this time, finally spoke. Hinawakan niya ang kamay ni Jane. Anak, she said gently, her voice full of warmth. Huwag mong isara agad ang pinto. Hindi mo alam, baka naman itong si Sir Paul ay pinadala ng Diyos. Alam mo naman, kailangan natin ng ang tulong ngayon. She looked at me with knowing gaze. At mukhang kailangan din ng anak niya ng isang tulad mo. Baka ito na ang sagot sa mga dasal mo, Jane. Jane looked at her Lola, her eyes filled with an emotion couldn't quite decipher. Pagdududa. Pero may halong pag-asa rin ba? O takot pa rin? She took deep breath. Lola, ayoko na po, sanang ayoko na pong maulit yung dati. Her voice was so low, I almost didn't catch it. The pain in that short sentence was palpable. Ano kayang nangyari sa kanya dati? Lola Myrna squeezed her hand. Iba ito, apo. Nararamdaman ko. Bigyan mo ng pagkakataon. Para kay Sophie. At para na rin sa sarili mo. Jane was silent for a long moment, staring at her calloused hands, probably weighing her Lola's words, her own fears, and the image of Sophie. The weight of the decision was clearly heavy on her. The festive sounds of the barangay seemed to fade, the focus narrowing down to this small, tense space between us. Finally, she looked up at me, her eyes still uncertain, but with a flicker of resolve I hadn't seen before. Sir, kung papayag po ako, ano po ang aasahan ko? Relief washed over me, so potent it almost buckled his knees. But kept the vase mask on. You'll live with us. You'll have your own room. Your main responsibility will be Sophie. Her meals, her playtime, her well-being. Of course, you'll be compensated very well. We can discuss the details. She nodded slowly. Pwede ko po bang pag-isipan muna, kahit saglit lang? Of course, I said, though every fiber of his being wanted her to say yes right then and there. I'll wait in the car. Nag-usap sila ni Lola Myrna sa loob ng bahay nila. Hindi ko narinig, pero nakita ko yung anino nila sa bintana. Si Jane, parang naglalakad-lakad. Si Lola Myrna, nakaupo lang, paminsan-minsan ay tatapikin si Jane sa braso. Ang tagal ng ilang minuto na iyon. Each second stretched into an eternity. What if she said no? What would it do then? Go back to the endless cycle of stressed-out nannies and a miserable child. The thought was exhausting. After what felt like an hour, but was probably just 10 minutes, the door opened. Jane stepped out, followed by her Lola. Her face was still pale, but her shoulders were a little straighter. She walked towards me. Sir Paul, she began, her voice soft but firm. Sige po. Tatanggapin ko po yung trabaho. I let out a breath, didn't realize was holding. Good. That's good. I tried to sound casual, but I could feel genuine smile forming on her face. When can you start? Kahit kailan po. Pero pwede po bang magpaalam muna ako ng maayos sa mga kapitbahay? At baka po pwedeng dalawin ko si Lola paminsan-minsan? Of course. And yes, you can visit your Lola. We'll arrange a schedule. This was better than I hoped. Lola Myrna was beaming. Salamat po, Sir Paul. Aalagaan po ni Jane si Sophie, sigurado po ako dyan. I'm counting on it, Lola. I looked at Jane. Welcome to the Samaniego household, Jane. She gave a small, hesitant nod. Salamat po, sir. Habang pabalik ako sa sasakyan, I felt a lightness I hadn't experienced in years. It wasn't just relief, it was a flicker of something more. Hope. The girl from the airport, the one who calmed the screaming child with a story about Rainbow Bunny, was now going to be Sophie's yaya. Hindi ko alam kung anong naghihintay sa amin. Pero sa unang pagkakataon, pakiramdam ko may magbabago. At sana, para sa ikabubuti. Parang panaginip. Yun ang paulit-ulit na sinasabi ko sa sarili ko noong unang araw kong tumapak sa mansyon ng mga Samaniego. Hindi lang mansyon. Palasyo. Ang laki, ang gara, ang nakakailang. Mula sa maliit naming bahay sa San Felipe, na amoy zone rocks at pritong isda, bigla akong napunta sa isang lugar na amoy mamahaling pabango at floor wax. Ang sahig, kumikinang sa sobrang linis, pwede ka nang manalamin. Ang mga muebles, mukhang galing pa sa museum. Kahit saan ako lumingon, art pieces, malalaking vases, at mga painting na sigurado akong mas mahal pa sa lahat ng ari-arian namin ni Lola Myrna combined. Si Sir Paul, he was professional. Brief and to the point. Pinakilala niya ako sa head housekeeper, si Manang Celia, isang matandang babae na may striktong mukha pero mabait naman pala. Siya ang nag-tour sa akin sa bahay, sa kitchen na kasing laki ng basketball court, sa dining room na may chandelier na kasing liwanag ng araw, at sa kwarto ko. In my own room. May sariling banyo. Aircon. Malambot na kama. Parang hotel. Naiyak ako ng kaunti noong una akong pumasok doon. Hindi dahil sa lungkot, kundi dahil sa hindi ko alam. Overwhelmed, siguro. Pero ang pinaka-importante sa lahat, si Sophie. Noong una niya akong makita ulit, this time sa teritoryo nila, para siyang nahihiya. Nagtago pa sa likod ng binti ni Sir Paul. Pero noong inisyan ko siya at sinabing, "Hi, Sophie. Na-miss mo ba si Rainbow Bunny?" Unti-unti siyang lumapit. At Jane, she whispered, her eyes wide. Ako nga, sabi ko, lumuhod para magpantay kami. Simula ngayon, ako na ang mag-aalaga sa'yo. And just like that, she smiled. A genuine, happy smile. Niyakap niya ako. Ang higpit. Sa mga sandaling yun, nawala lahat ng kaba at pag-aalangan ko. This was why I was here. For this little girl. Ang mga unang linggo parang adjustment period. Para sa akin, para kay Sophie, at maging kay Sir Paul. Sophie, unti-unti, naging ibang bata. Yung dating laging nakasimangot at tahimik, maliban na lang kung nagtatantrums, biglang naging cheerful. Mas naging komunikatibo. Kinukwentuhan niya ako tungkol sa mga laruan niya, sa mga panaginip niya, sa mga namimiss niya. She even started eating her vegetables without much fuss, lalo na pag sinasabi kong yun ang paboritong kainin ni Rainbow Bunny para maging strong. Madalas, naglalaro kami sa playroom niya, isang kwarto na puno ng lahat ng klase ng laruan na maiisip mo. Pero mas gusto niya pag nasa labas kami, sa malawak nilang garden. Naghahabulan kami, nagtataguan, o minsan, uupo lang kami sa damuhan habang kinukwentuhan ko siya. Minsan tungkol kay Rainbow Bunny, minsan tungkol sa mga simpleng bagay sa San Felipe, yung mga pusang kalye na kaibigan ko, yung fiesta, yung mga kalaro ko noong bata pa ako. She would listen intently, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Si Sir Paul, palaging seryoso. Palaging may kausap sa phone o may binabasang papeles. Madalas, gabi na siyang umuuwi pagod galing opisina. Pero napapansin ko, unti-unti, nagbabago rin siya. Minsan, nahuhuli ko siyang nakasilip sa amin ni Sophie habang naglalaro kami. Hindi siya lumalapit, pero nakikita ko sa gilid ng mga mata niya ang isang maliit na ngiti. Isang ngiting hindi pilit, hindi para sa business. Isang totoong ngiti. One evening, I was tucking Sophie into bed. Kinakantahan ko siya ng isang lumang lulabi na kinakanta sa akin ni Lola Myrna noong bata pa ako. Tulog na, bunso ang bituin sa langit, kumikindat sa iyod. Napansin kong bahagyang nakaawang ang pinto ng kwarto ni Sophie. Paglingon ko, nakita ko si Sir Paul, nakatayo doon, nakasandal sa hamba ng pinto. Nakatingin siya sa amin. Hindi ko mabasa ang ekspresyon niya. Pero noong magtama ang mga mata namin, mabilis siyang umiwas ng tingin at umalis. Kinabahan ako. Baka naingayan siya. O baka ayaw niyang kinakantahan ko si Sophie. Pero kinabukasan, Manang Celia told me, Jane, Hija, pinapasabi ni Sir Paul na nagustuhan daw niya yung kanta mo kagabi. Matagal na raw niyang hindi narinig si Sophie na ganun kapayapa. Napangiti ako. Isang maliit na bagay, pero parang ang laki ng epekto sa akin. Kilig. Hindi siguro. Siguro appreciation lang. There were moments, though, naramdam ko pa rin ang distansya ng mundo namin. Tulad noong minsang nagkaroon sila ng dinner party. Ang daming bisita, lahat nakapormal na damit, mga babaeng nakaalahas na kumikinang, mga lalaking amoy mamahaling pabango. Ako, nasa gilid lang, tinitiyak na okay si Sophie, na tahimik na kumakain sa isang maliit na table. I felt so out of place. Parang langgam sa gitna ng mga elepante. Sir Paul was the perfect host, confidently mingling with his guests. Paminsan-minsan, napapatingin siya sa direksyon namin ni Sophie, a quick, almost imperceptible nod, as if to check if everything was alright. Isang beses, habang inaayos ko ang mga gamit sa kwarto ni Sophie, narinig ko si Sir Paul na may kausap sa phone sa study niya, nakatabi lang ng kwarto ni Sophie. Medyo malakas ang boses niya. I know, Richard. It's different, sabi niya sa kausap. She's good with Sophie. Really good. Hindi ko maintindihan parang gusto kong uwi siya. Natigilan ako. Gusto kong iwi siya. Sino? Ako. O si Sophie. O baka naman ibang babae ang tinutukoy niya? My heart did a funny little flip. Pinilit kong alisin sa isip ko. Trabaho lang to, Jane. Yaya ka lang. Pero ang pinaka hindi ko makakalimutan ay yung birthday party ni Sophie. She turned 4. Sir Paul threw a lavish party in their garden. May clones, magicians, bouncy castle, at napakaraming pagkain. Lahat ng kalaro ni Sophie sa exclusive preschool niya, nandoon, kasama ang mga sosyal nilang magulang. Si Sophie, ang saya-saya. Naka-princess costume siya, tawa ng tawa, takbo ng takbo. Ako, as usual, nasa gilid lang, tinitiyak na hindi siya madudulas o hindi masyadong kakain ng matatamis. I was wearing a simple blue dress na binili sa akin ni Manang Celia, para naman presentable ka, Hija, sabi niya. Habang pinapanood ko si Sophie na masayang nagbubukas ng mga regalo, biglang may tumabi sa akin. Si Sir Paul. Naka-crisp white polo shirt siya at khaki pants. Mas mukha siyang relaxed kaysa karaniwan. She's happy, he said, his voice soft, his eyes fixed on Sophie. Opo, sir. Sobra po, sagot ko, hindi makatingin ng diretso sa kanya. Parang biglang uminit ang paligid. O baka ako lang yun. This wouldn't be like this without you, Jane. Napatingin ako sa kanya. This time, he was looking at me. Straight at me. May kung anong kislap sa mga mata niya. Is it gratitude? Or something else? Ginagawa ko lang po ang trabaho ko, sir. He smiled, a genuine, warm smile that reached his eyes. You do more than your job, Jane. You brought light back into this house. Into Sophie's life. He paused. Into mine. My heart hammered against the ribs. Into mine. Anong ibig niyang sabihin? This felt different. Hindi na ito boss to employee. Parang iba na. For a moment, we just stood there, side by side, watching Sophie. The noise of the party faded into the background. Ang tanging naririnig ko lang, yung tibok ng puso ko. Nagka-eye contact kami ulit. This time, it lingered. Parang may kuryenteng dumaloy sa pagitan namin. Isang spark. A fleeting, almost invisible spark, but it was there. Kilig. Yes, this was definitely kilig. Mixed with awi and a little bit of tahimik na selos. Selos kanino? Sa sarili ko, dahil alam kong hanggang dito lang dapat to. He cleared his throat, breaking the spell. Anyway, thank you. Really? Wala po yun, sir. Bumalik na ulit yung formalidad. Pero alam ko, may nagbago na. Something had shifted between us that afternoon. Gabi na, tapos na ang party. Pagod na pagod si Sophie, pero masaya. Habang pinapatulog ko siya, kinukwento niya kung gaano siya kasaya. Ate Jane, you're the bestest yaya ever, sabi niya, bago siya tuluyang makatulog. Napangiti ako. Pinunasan ko ang isang butil ng luha na hindi ko na malayang tumulo sa pisngi ko. Paglabas ko ng kwarto ni Sophie, nakita ko si Sir Paul sa hallway, ay hawak na baso ng wine. Mukhang malalim ang iniisip. Sir! Nagulat siya ng kaunti. Oh, Jane. Gising ka pa pala. Katutulog lang po ni Sophie. He nodded. Good. She had a great day. Opo. There was an awkward silence. Parang may gusto siyang sabihin pero hindi niya masabi. Parang may gusto rin akong sabihin pero hindi ko alam kung ano. Thank you again, Jane. For everything, he finally said. Wala pong anuman, sir. Para kay Sophie po. I tried to keep the voice neutral, professional. Pero noong hinisyan niya ako, yung iting parang nakalaan lang para sa akin, yung iting nakita ko kanina sa party parang natunaw lahat ng depensa ko. Good night, Jane. Good night po, Sir Paul. Pumasok ako sa kwarto ko, napahawak sa dibdib ko. Ang bilis pa rin ng tibok. This was getting complicated. He was my boss. A very rich, very powerful, very attractive boss. And it was just Jane, the yaya. Pero bakit ganito ang nararamdaman ko? Bakit sa tuwing humingiti siya, parang may paru-parong nagwawala sa tiyan ko? Bakit sa tuwing nagkakatitigan kami, parang gusto kong tumagal pa yung mga sandaling iyon? This wasn't just about Sophie anymore. This was about Paul. And that scared me. Because knew, deep down, that a world of difference separated us. A world I could never truly belong to. At sa kabila ng comfort, sa kabila ng malambot na kama at masasarap na pagkain, ramdam na ramdam ko pa rin ang distansya ng mundo namin. Ang tanong, hanggang kailan ko kayang labanan tong nararamdaman ko? Akala ko, magiging maayos na ang lahat. Akala ko, nasanay na ako sa takbo ng buhay sa mansion. Akala ko, yung mga maliliit na key sparks sa pagitan namin ni Sir Paul, hanggang doon na lang yun, mga lihim na kilig na itatago ko na lang sa puso ko. Trabaho lang. Si Sophie ang priority. Paulit-ulit kong sinasabi yan sa sarili ko, parang mantra. Pero minsan, ang puso, sadyang pasaway. At ang tadhana, may sariling plano. Isang hapon, habang tinutulungan ko si Sophie sa kanyang art project, gumagawa kami ng college, gamit ang mga tuyong dahon at bulaklak na pinulot namin sa garden, biglang may nag-doorbell. Usually, si Manang Celia ang nagbubukas, o isa sa mga katulong. Pero that day, medyo abala sila sa paghahanda para sa isang charity event na pupuntahan ni Sir Paul kinagabihan. Ako na po, Manang, sigaw ko, habang pinupunasan ang mga kamay kong puno ng glue. Si Sophie, abala pa rin sa pagdidikit ng isang pulang gumamela sa kanyang papel. Pagbukas ko ng pinto, isang babae ang tumambad sa akin. Matangkad, balingkinitan ang katawan at napakaganda. Naka-eleganting floral dress siya, may dalang designer handbag, at ang buhok niya, parang bagong salon. Amoy niya pa lang, alam mo nang mamahalin. For a second, natulala ako. Para siyang artista na lumabas sa magazine. Yes? Can I help you? Tanong niya, her voice smooth as silk, pero may konting taas. Parang tinitingnan niya ako mula ulo hanggang paa. Medyo na-conscious ako bigla sa suot kong lumang t-shirt at shorts, na may mansa pa ng pintura. Sino po sila? Tanong ko, trying to sound polite. Bago pa siya makasagot, may narinig kaming boses mula sa likod ko. Krista! Napalingon ako. Si Sir Paul. Kakababa lang niya ng hagdan, bihis na nakasuit and tie. Gulat ang ekspresyon niya. As in, genuine shock. Yung tipo ng gulat na hindi mo inaasahan. Yung babae, biglang umiti. Isang matamis, mapang-akit na ngiti. Paul. Darling. Surprise. Lumakad siya papasok, nilagpasan ako na parang hangin lang, at diretsong niyakap si Sir Paul. Isang mahigpit na yakap. Hinalikan pa niya ito sa pisngi. Parang may kung anong kumirot sa dibdib ko. Bigla. Hindi ko maintindihan. Si Sir Paul parang natigilan. Hindi agad siya yumakap pabalik. Medyo awkward siyang tumayo doon. Krista, what are you doing here? Tanong niya, medyo naguguluhan pa rin. Well, I was in town, and I thought I'd drop by. I missed you. I missed this place. Tumingin siya sa paligid, her eyes sweeping over the grand living room, then landed on Sophie, who had silently crept up behind me, curious. And who is this little angel? Krista cooed, her voice suddenly saccharine sweet. Lumuhod siya sa harap ni Sophie. You must be Sophie. Ang laki mo na. Ang ganda-ganda mo, just like your napatigil siya, then smiled thinly. Just like your daddy. Sophie, for once, was speechless. Nakatitig lang siya kay Krista, medyo nakakunot ang noo. Krista, this is Jane, Sir Paul finally said, gesturing towards me. Jane, this is Krista Sandoval. An old friend. Old friend. Yung paraan ng pagyakap niya, parang hindi lang to old friend. May history. Malalim na history. At bigla, naalala ko yung mga bulong-bulungan ng ibang katulong. Tungkol sa AX ni Sir Paul na bigla na lang umalis, na iniwan siyang wasak. Ito na ba yun? Krista gave me quick, dismissive glance. Oh. The yaya, I presume. Tumango lang ako. The yaya. Parang ang liit-liit ko bigla. Nice to meet you, she said, pero yung ngiti niya, hindi umabot sa mga mata. Parang plastic. May dala siyang isang magandang paper bag, iniabot niya ito kay Sophie. As brought you something, sweetie. A little present. Sophie looked at Sir Paul, then at me, as if asking for permission. Sir Paul nodded curtly. Binuksan ni Sophie. Isang malaking, mamahaling manika. Naka-ball gown pa. Pero si Sophie, parang hindi masyadong interesado. Tiningnan lang niya, tapos binalik ang tingin kay Krista. Pasok muna tayo sa loob, sabi ni Sir Paul, clearly still flustered. Jane, can you take Sophie to her room? Mag-uusap lang kami ni Krista. Parang may tinik sa lalamunan ko. Oo po, sir. Hinawakan ko ang kamay ni Sophie. Tara na, Sophie. Laro tayo sa taas. Pero bago kami makaalis, narinig kong sinabi ni Krista, actually, Paul, I was hoping to spend some time with Sophie too. Para sa kanya naman talaga kaya ako bumalik eh. I want to get to know her. Her voice was laced with an almost desperate sincerity. Or was it just an act? In my heart sank. Para sa kanya raw kaya siya bumalik. So, anong ibig sabihin nun? Babalikan na niya si Sir Paul? Babalikan na niya ang buhay na iniwan niya? At si Sophie magkakaroon na ulit ng tiina. The thought was like punch to the gut. Masakit. Sobrang sakit. Nangingilid na ang luha ko pero pinigilan ko. Hindi dito. Hindi sa harap nila. Maybe later, Krista, Sir Paul said, his voice firm. Sophie has her routine. Krista's smile faltered for a split second, then returned, brighter than ever. Of course, darling. Whatever you say. Dinala ko si Sophie sa kwarto niya. Tahimik lang siya. Hindi niya pinansin yung bagong manika. Instead, kinuha niya yung luma niyang rainbow bunny stuffed toy, yung medyo gasgas na, at niyakap ng mahigpit. At Jane, she whispered, her voice small. Sino po yung girl? Kaibigan lang siya ni Daddy, Sophie, sabi ko, trying to sound cheerful, pero alam kong basag ang boses ko. She's not the mommy, Sophie stated, her eyes serious. Hindi, anak. Hindi siya ang mommy mo. Ang mommy mo, si Clarice. At ako lang si Ate Jane. Ang yaya mo. Naiwan kami ni Sophie sa kwarto. Narinig ko ang mga boses nila Sir Paul at Krista mula sa baba. Hindi ko maintindihan lahat, pero sapat na yung tono para malaman kong seryoso ang pinag-uusapan nila. Nagtatawanan sila paminsan-minsan. Yung tawa ni Krista, parang kampana na umaalingaw sa buong bahay. At bawat tawa niya, parang isang patak ng lason sa puso ko. Selos. Pure, unadulterated jealousy. At kasabay noon, sakit. Bakit ako nasasaktan? Wala naman akong karapatan. After about an hour, narinig kong nagpaalam na si Krista. I'll see you again soon, Paul. And you too, Sophie, "Vivi, sweet girl," she called out before the main door closed. Silence. Hindi ko alam kung anong gagawin ko. Should I go down? Should I pretend nothing happened? Maya-maya, kumatok si Sir Paul sa pinto ng kwarto ni Sophie. Jane. Sophie. Okay lang kayo? Okay lang po kami, sir, sagot ko, trying to keep the voice steady. Pumasok siya. Mukha siyang pagod. At stressed. Umupo siya sa tabi ni Sophie sa kama. How are you, princess? He asked Sophie gently. Sophie just shrugged, still hugging Rainbow Bunny. He looked at me. Jane, about Kristati. It's okay, sir, I cut him off a little too quickly. Wala po yun. Ayokong marinig. Ayokong malaman. Kasi natatakot ako sa pwede kong marinig. He sighed. She's Sophie's godmother. And we used to be together. A long time ago. Godmother. And we used to be together. The words confirmed the worst fears. She said she wants to be part of Sophie's life again. Napayuko ako. Hindi ako makatingin sa kanya. Ramdam ko ang mga mata niya sa akin. Anong sabi niyo po, sir? I managed to ask. He ran a hand through his hair. I don't know, Jane. I honestly don't know. It's complicated. Complicated. Of course, it was. How could it not be? She was beautiful, sophisticated, and obviously, she still had a hold on him. At ako lang si Jane. The simple yaya. That night, hindi ako makatulog. Paulit-ulit na nag-replay sa isip ko yung mga nangyari. Yung pagdating ni Krista. Yung yakap niya kay Sir Paul. Yung mga salitang binitiwan niya. Para sa kanya naman talaga kaya ako bumalik. My mind raced. What if Sir Paul decides to take her back? What if they become a family again? Where would that leave me? Siyempre, mawawalan na ako ng trabaho. But it wasn't just about the job. It was about Sophie. It was about Paul. Ang sakit isipin na mawawala sila sa buhay ko. The next few days were tense. Krista started visiting more often. Palagi siyang may dalang regalo para kay Sophie. Palagi siyang nakangiti, palaging mabait. Pero ramdam ko, may something off, lalo na pag nakikita niya kaming close ni Sophie. May kakaibang tingin siya sa akin. Parang selos din. O baka naman, threat ang tingin niya sa akin. One afternoon, I was in the kitchen, preparing Sophie's merienda. Sir Paul was out for a meeting. Krista arrived unannounced. Akala niya siguro wala si Sir Paul. Pumunta siya sa kusina. Oh, Jane. Nandyan ka pala, she said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. Si Paul? Nasa meeting po, Ma'am Krista. Good. Ngumiti siya. Alam mo, Jane, I appreciate everything you're doing for Sophie. Talagang napamahal na siya sa'yo, ano? Mahal ko po si Sophie, Ma'am. I can see that. She leaned against the counter, her perfectly manicured nails tapping on the marble. Pero, alam mo naman siguro na hindi ito pang habang buhay, di ba? I mean, Sophie needs a real mother. And Paul. Paul needs a wife. Someone who understands his world. Parang sinampal ako ng mga salita niya. Ang sakit. Pero pinilit kong huwag ipakita. Hindi ko po alam kung anong ibig niyong sabihin, Ma'am. She laughed, short, sharp sound. Oh, please, Jane. Don't play dumb with me. Nakikita ko kung paano ka tumingin kay Paul. At nakikita ko rin kung paano siya tumingin sa'yo. Pero let me tell you something, honey. You're just a face. A temporary comfort. Once he realizes na ako pa rin ang kailangan niya, na ako ang babagay sa tabi niya, you'll be out of the picture. So, don't get your hopes up. Parang binuhusan ako ng malamig na tubig. Ang sama niya. Ang sakit niyang magsalita. Wala po akong inaasahan, Ma'am Krista, I said, the voice trembling slightly. Trabaho ko lang po to. Good. Just remember that. Umiti ulit siya, yung iting parang demonyo, bago siya tumalikod at umalis. Naiwan akong nanginginig sa kusina. Totoo ba yung mga sinabi niya? Was just a phase. Temporary solution. The thought crushed me. All the kilig, all the small hopes I had secretly harbored, they all came crashing down. Ang tanga-tanga ko. Bakit nga ba ako aasa? Ang layo-layo ng agwat namin. That evening, nagkaroon sila ng isa pang usapan ni Sir Paul sa study. This time, narinig ko ang ilang piraso ng conversation nila. Dumaan ako sa labas ng study para kunin ang naiwang laruan ni Sophie. Baka naman pwede nating ayusin to, Paul, yun ang narinig kong sinabi ni Krista, her voice pleading, vulnerable. For Sophie's sake. For us. Hindi ko na narinig ang sagot ni Sir Paul. Tumakbo na ako palayo, pabalik sa kwarto ko, bago pa nila ako makita. Baka naman pwede nating ayusin to. The words echoed in Isaiah's head. Ayusin. That meant reconciliation. That meant sila na ulit. In my heart shattered into a million pieces. This was it, this was the end. Kinabukasan, maaga akong nagising. Hindi ako halos nakatulog. Nag-empake ako ng mga gamit ko. Kaunti lang naman. Yung mga damit na dala ko at yung ilang binili sa akin ni Manang Celia. Nagsulat ako ng isang maikling liham. Para kay Sir Paul. At para kay Sophie. Kinuha ko yung keycard ng kwarto ko. I looked around the room one last time. This room that had been Isvai's sanctuary for the past few months. This house that had started to feel like home. Ang sakit. Sobrang sakit. Pero kailangan kong gawin to, bago pa ako tuluyang masaktan. Bago pa ako tuluyang umasa sa isang bagay na hinding-hindi naman mangyayari. Dahan-dahan akong lumabas ng kwarto. Madilim pa. Tahimik ang buong bahay. Iniwan ko ang keycard at ang sulat sa ibabaw ng maliit na mesa sa hallway, malapit sa kwarto ni Sir Paul. Then, with tears streaming down my face, I walked out of the Samaniego mansion. Wala akong paalam. Wala akong lingon likod. Because if I look back, I might not be able to leave. The first thing Paul noticed when he woke up was the silence. Isang kakaibang katahimikan. Usually, this time, maririnig na niya ang maliliit na yapak ni Sophie na tumatakbo sa hallway, o ang malambing na boses ni Jane na ginigising ito, minsan may kasamang kanta o kwento tungkol kay Rainbow Bunny. Pero ngayon, wala. Nakakabinging katahimikan. He glanced at his bedside clock. 7 oras dahil, medyo late na para sa usual routine nila. Kumunot ang noo niya. Maybe they overslept. Impossible. Jane was always an early riser. Bumangon siya, nagsuot ng robe. Pagbukas niya ng pinto ng kwarto niya, napansin niya agad ang isang puting sobre at isang keycard sa console table sa hallway. His heart lurched. Hindi maganda ang kutob niya. Kinuha niya ang sobre. Nakasulat, para kay Sir Paul. Ang sulat kamay, alam niyang kay Jane. Nanginginig ang mga kamay niyang binuksan ito. Sir Paul. Pasensya na po kung sa ganitong paraan ako nagpaalam. Hindi ko na po kayang personal na sabihin. Maraming salamat po sa lahat ng pagkakataon at kabutihan na ipinakita niyo sa akin, lalo na po kay Sophie. Minahal ko po si Sophie na parang tunay na anak. Alam ko pong masaya na si Sophie dahil bumalik na po si Ma'am Krista. Magkakaroon na po siya ng tunay na pamilya. Hindi na po ako kailangan doon. Pakiabot na lang po ang isa pang sulat kay Sophie. Sana po maalala niya pa rin si Ate Jane at si Rainbow Bunny. Hanggang dito na lang po. Maraming salamat po ulit. Nagpapasalamat. Jane. Paul felt like the air had been punched out of his lungs. Hindi na ako kailangan doon. Bumalik na si Ma'am Krista. What the hell was she talking about? Anong pinagsasabi niyang masaya na si Sophie dahil kay Krista? Anong tunay na pamilya? Galit. Pagkalito. At isang matinding kirot sa dibdib. These emotions warred within him. He crumpled the letter in his fist. Tiningnan niya ang isa pang sobre, mas maliit, may drawing na isang medyo tabinging kuneho na may kulay bahaghari sa gilid. Para kay Sophie. Jane, sigaw niya, kahit alam niyang walang sasagot. Jane. Dali-dali siyang pumunta sa kwarto ni Jane. Kumatok siya ng malakas. Jane. Open this door. Walang sagot. He tried the knob. Unlocked. Pagbukas niya, malamig na hangin lang ang sumalubong sa kanya. The room was empty. Maayos ang kama. Nakatupi ang kumot. Ang mga personal na gamit ni Jane sa ibabaw ng dresser, yung maliit niyang sisidlan ng suklay, yung mumurahing pabango na amoy baby powder, yung picture frame na mailitrato nila ni Lola Myrna, wala na. She was gone. Talagang umalis na siya. Kasabay noon, narinig niya ang pagbukas ng pinto ng kwarto ni Sophie. Lumabas si Sophie, kinukusot pa ang mga mata, hawak-hawak ang original na Rainbow Bunny stuffed toy. Daddy, she asked, her voice sleepy. Where's 8 Jane? It's time for pancakes. Paul knelt in front of his daughter, his heart aching. How could he tell her? Anak. Ate Jane, hindi niya masabi. The words wouldn't come out. Manang Celia appeared, her face etched with worry. Sir, anong nangyayari? Narinig ko po kayong sumisigaw. Nasaan po si Jane? Pinakita ni Paul ang sulat. Manang Celia's eyes widened as she read it. Diyos ko po, she whispered, napahawak sa dibdib. Bakit naman bigla-bigla? Sophie, sensing the tension, started to look worried. Daddy? What's wrong? Where's 8 Jane? Is she playing hide and seek? Paul took a deep breath. Anak. At Jane had to go somewhere. May kailangan siyang asikasuhin. It was a lame excuse and he knew it. Sophie's lower lip began to tremble. Go where? Will she be back for story time? Hindi makasagot si Paul. The lie felt heavy on his tongue. The next few hours were hell. Sophie refused to eat breakfast. Ayaw niyang maligo. Ayaw niyang magbihis. Hinahanap niya si Jane. I want 8 Jane. I want 8 Jane to read to me. I want 8 Jane to sing the Rainbow Bunny song, paulit-ulit niyang sinasabi, her voice getting louder and more distressed with each repetition. The tantrums were back. With a vengeance. Worse than ever before. Para siyang bumalik sa dati, noong bago dumating si Jane, pero mas matindi pa ngayon. Dahil ngayon, alam na niya kung ano ang nawawala sa kanya. Paul tried everything. He offered her new toys, her favorite ice cream, a trip to the zoo. Wala. Tinatabig lang niya lahat. Umiiyak siya ng walang tigil. Manang Celia tried to comfort her, but Sophie wouldn't let her near. You're not 8 Jane, she would scream. Krista arrived mid-morning, all smiles and bearing a box of expensive cupcakes. Akala niya siguro, another normal day of winning Sophie over. She was met with a raging, inconsolable child and a furious, stressed-out Paul. What's going on here? Krista asked, her smile faltering. Jane left, Paul bit out, his voice tight with anger and frustration. Left? Just like that. Krista looked surprised, then a small, almost imperceptible smirk played on her lips. Well, maybe it's for the best, Paul. Sabi ko naman sa'yo. Don't you dare say, told you so, Krista. Paul snapped. This is your fault. Kung ano man ang sinabi mo sa kanya kagabi. In my fault. Krista feigned innocence. Paul, darling, I just had a little chat with her. Girl talk. Baka naman na-realize niya lang na hindi talaga siya para dito. Their argument escalated, right there in the living room, with Sophie wailing in the background. I don't want you. Sophie suddenly screamed at Krista, pointing teeny, accusing finger. You're not 8 Jane. I hate you. Go away. Krista looked stunned, then hurt. Sophie, sweetie, don't say that tea. Away. For the first time, Paul saw a crack in Krista's perfectly composed facade. She looked genuinely shaken by Sophie's rejection. The day dragged on. Paul cancelled all his meetings. He stayed home, trying to pacify Sophie, but nothing worked. She refused to speak. First time na ayaw niyang kumain, ayaw magsalita, ayaw tumingin kahit kanino. She just sat in her room, clutching Rainbow Bunny, her eyes red and swollen from crying. Minsan, sisigaw siya ng kay Ate Jane. Ate Jane, tapos iiyak na naman. Paul was at his wit's end. He felt a crushing wave of guilt. He should have seen this coming. He should have talked to Jane, assured her, told her what? That he was starting to feel something for her. That she was more than just a yaya. Too late. Ang tanga niya. He had been so focused on his own confusion, his own fear of getting hurt again, that he failed to see how much Jane meant, not just to Sophie, but to him as well. He paced his office, separate room in the mansion, raging at himself, blaming his past decisions, blaming Krista, blaming the whole damned world. He picked up a crystal paperweight from his desk and hurled it against the wall. It shattered into 1,000 pieces, much like his composure. Damn it, Jane. Elif, did you have to leave? Elif, didn't you talk to me? Gabi na. Sophie still hadn't eaten anything substantial. She was weak, her cries now soft whimpers. Paul sat beside her bed, holding her small hand. Anak, please eat something. For Daddy. Sophie slowly shook her head, tears still silently streaming down her face. Then, she whispered, so faintly he almost didn't hear it, hindi ko na makita si Mommy Jane. Mommy Jane. The words hit Paul like a physical blow. Mommy. Hindi ate. Mommy. Jane wasn't just yaya to Sophie. She had become family. She had filled a void in Sophie's heart that he, as a father, couldn't. That Clarice, her biological mother, left behind. That Krista, for all her efforts, could never hope to fill. Realization dawned on Paul, sharp and painful. He had been a fool. A blind, stupid fool. He had let his past with Krista cloud his judgment. He had let Krista's manipulations, subtle as they were, affect him. And in doing so, he had driven away the one person who truly made Sophie happy. The one person who was slowly, unexpectedly, making him happy too. Biglang tumunog ang phone niya. Si Arthur. Sir, I tried calling Jane's number. Cannot be reached. I sent someone to her lola's house in San Felipe. Wala na raw po sila doon. Lumipat na raw po kahapon pa, hindi raw po alam kung saan. Another dead end. Paul felt a fresh wave of despair. How could he find her now? He remembered the small, unopened letter for Sophie. Kinuha niya ito mula sa drawer ng bedside table. Anak, at Jane left this for you. Sophie's eyes, dull with sadness, flickered with a teeny spark of interest. Dahan-dahan niyang kinuha ang sulat. Paul helped her open it. Sa loob, isang maikling sulat, nakasulat sa simpleng papel, may mga drawing na maliliit na bulaklak sa gilid. Mahal kong Sophie. Si Ate Jane to, pasensya na kung bigla akong umalis. May kailangan lang akong puntahan. Huwag kang mag-alala, palagi kitang iisipin. Palagi kitang mamahalin. Alagaan mo si Rainbow Bunny, ha? Pag malungkot ka, yakapin mo lang siya, tapos isipin mo lahat ng colors ng rainbow. Red para sa tapang, orange para sa saya, alam mo na yun. Huwag kang iiyak masyado, ha? Ang ganda-ganda mo pa naman pag nakasmile. Promise mo kay Ate Jane, magiging good girl ka palagi. Love, at Jane, your Rainbow Bunny friend. Sophie clutched the letter to her chest, her small body shaking with silent sobs. Paul hugged her tightly, his own eyes burning. We'll find her, anak, he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. I promise you. We'll find Aunt Jane. But how? He had no leads. She had disappeared. Just then, Manang Celia knocked softly and entered the room. May dala siyang isang maliit na piraso ng papel. Sir Paul, pasensya na po. Ito po kasing si Elsa, yung isang katulong natin, naaalala niya po na noong isang araw, bago pa umalis si Jane, narinig niya pong kausap ni Jane sa telepono ang lola niya. Nabanggit daw po ni Lola Merina ang pangalan ng isang kamag-anak nila sa probinsya. Sa Lokban, Quezon daw po. May fiesta raw po doon ngayon. Lokban, Quezon. Pahiyas Festival. Paul's head snapped up. A flicker of hope ignited within him. It was a long shot, a very long shot. But it was something. Lokban, he repeated. Are you sure, Manang? Opo, sir. Sigurado raw po si Elsa. Paul looked at Sophie, who was now looking at him with a fragile, questioning gaze. He made a decision. A crazy, impulsive decision. But he had to do it. For Sophie. For himself. Manang, pakiready si Sophie. Paki-empek ng ilang damit niya. Arthur, he called out, already grabbing his car keys. Get the FV ready. We're going to Lokban. Now. Hindi na siya nag-abala pang magbihis. Nakapambahay pa rin siya. Wala siyang pakialam. He had to find Jane. He had to bring her back. He was driving to San Felipe, no, to Lokban, with his heart, not his head, leading the way. At wala nang preno ang damdamin niya. Ang bayahe papuntang Lokban, parang isang karera laban sa oras at sa sarili kong nag-aalab na emosyon. Si Arthur ang pinag-drive ko, pero halos ako na ang nagmamaneho sa sobrang kaba at excitement. Si Sophie, nakatulog sa likod, yakap-yakap pa rin ang sulat ni Jane at si Rainbow Bunny. Bawat kilometrong nilalakbay namin, pakiramdam ko, palapit ako ng palapit sa kasagutan, o baka naman, sa mas matinding kabiguan. The thought was terrifying. Gabi na kami nakarating sa Lokban. The town was alive. Ang ingay, ang kulay, ang saya. Pahiyas festival pala talaga. Ang mga bahay, pinalamutya ng mga kiping na makukulay, mga prutas, gulay at iba't ibang ani. May mga banda na tumutugtog, mga taong nagsasayawan sa kalsada, at ang amoy ng iba't ibang kakanin, pansit habhab, longganisang lokban, espasol, ay nambubusog sa hangin. It was a stark contrast to the gloomy, oppressive silence of the mansion we left behind. Sir, saan po tayo magsisimula? Tanong ni Arthur, medyo na-overwhelmed din sa dami ng tao at sa ingay. I don't know, Arthur. I have to find her. Ilve's voice was hoarse. Paano mo hahanapin ang isang tao sa ganito karaming tao, sa ganito kalaking selebrasyon? It felt like searching for a needle in a haystack. Pero hindi ako pwedeng sumuko. Bumaba kami ng sasakyan. Si Sophie, nagising na, medyo takot pa sa ingay at sa dami ng tao, pero noong nakita niya ang mga makukulay na palamuti, medyo na-distract siya. Wow, Daddy, look! Rainbow houses, sabi niya, pointing at the vibrant capping decorations. I managed a weak smile. Yes, baby. Rainbow houses. Just like Rainbow Bunny. Naglakad kami, sumusuong sa agos ng mga tao. Pinapakita ko ang picture ni Jane sa phone ko sa mga tindera, sa mga barangay tanod, sa kahit sinong mapagtanungan. Nakita niyo po ba ang babaeng to? Kasama ang isang matandang babae. Paulit-ulit. Ang sagot, laging hindi po, sir, o pasensya na, ang dami kasing tao. Ilvai hope started to dwindle with each negative response. Baka mali kami ng lugar. Baka wala talaga sila dito. Baka huli na ang lahat. Pagod na kami. Si Sophie, medyo irritable na rin. Nag-aalala na ako. Sir, baka po gusto niyong magpahinga muna tayo. Kumain. Medyo gutom na rin po si Sophie, suggestion ni Arthur, his face etched with concern. I looked at Sophie. Her eyes were drooping. Tama si Arthur. Okay, aside. Let's find a place to eat. Napunta kami sa isang medyo tahimik na eskinita, malapit sa simbahan. May ilang food stalls doon. Umorder kami ng pansit habhab at inumin. Habang kumakain si Sophie, Jiv's eyes kept scanning the crowd, hoping for a miracle. And then, I saw her. Hindi si Jane. Si Lola Myrna. Nakaupo siya sa isang maliit na stool sa tapat ng isang stall na nagtitinda ng mga kakanin at mga souvenir. Nakangiti siya habang kinakausap ang tindera. Yin my heart leaped. Kung nasaan si Lola Myrna, siguradong malapit lang si Jane. Arthur, stay with Sophie, sabi ko, bago mabilis na lumapit sa stall. Lola Myrna. Lumingon si Lola Myrna. Nanlaki ang mga mata niya sa gulat. Sir Paul. Anong ginagawa niyo dito? Si Jane po, Lola. Nasaan po si Jane? I asked, with a voice urgent, almost breathless. Bago pa makasagot si Lola Myrna, may isang boses na tumawag mula sa likod ng stall. Isang boses na alam ko. Isang boses na hinahanap-hanap ko. Lola, sino po yan? Lumabas si Jane mula sa likod ng stall, may dalang isang tray ng puto bumbong. Nakasimpleng duster lang siya, nakatali ang buhok, at may konting uling sa pisngi. Pero para sa akin, siya ang pinakamagandang babae sa buong lokban. Natigilan siya noong makita niya ako. Nabitawan niya ang tray. Nagkalat ang mga puto bumbong sa lupa. Sir Paul, she stammered, her face a mixture of shock, disbelief, and was that fear? Or guilt? Jane, I breathed, relief washing over me so intensely, I felt weak. Thank God, I found you. Hindi siya makapagsalita. Nakatitig lang siya sa akin, parang hindi makapaniwala. Si Lola Myrna, tumayo. Hijo, pasensya ka na. Hindi namin sinasadya. It's okay, Lola. I looked back at Jane. Jane, we need to talk. Before I could say anything more, another small voice piped up. At Jane. Napalingon kaming lahat. Si Sophie. Nakawala pala kay Arthur at tumakbo palapit sa amin, ang mga mata niya, malaki at puno ng pag-asa. At Jane. It's you. It's really you, sigaw ni Sophie, at bago pa namin mapigilan, niyakap niya ng mahigpit ang binti ni Jane. Jane looked down at Sophie, her eyes instantly softening. The shock on her face was replaced by a wave of pure, unadulterated love. Lumuhod siya at niyakap si Sophie ng mahigpit, burying her face in Sophie's hair. Sophie anak, she whispered, her voice thick with tears. Anong ginagawa niyo dito? We missed you, Jane. Sophie cried, clinging to her. Daddy missed you too. We look for you everywhere. My heart ached watching them. This was what came for. I stepped forward. The crowd around the food stall seemed to fade away. Ang ingay ng fiesta, parang naging background music na lang sa eksenang ito. Jane, I started, with voice shaking slightly. I read your letter. And I'm so sorry. Sorry if I made you feel like you weren't needed. Sorry if I made you feel like you had to leave. She looked up at me, tears streaming down her face. Sir Paul, ako po ang dapat humingi ng tawad. Hindi po ako dapat umalis ng ganun na lang. No, Jane. Ako ang may kasalanan. I was a fool. I was blind. I took deep breath. This was it, no more holding back. No more say bullshit. Just Paul. Just a man who was desperately in love. Jane, noong umalis ka parang gumuho ang mundo namin ni Sophie. Lalo na si Sophie. She wouldn't eat, she wouldn't talk. Ang tanging sinasabi lang niya, hindi ko na makita si Mommy Jane. Jane gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. More tears fell. She calls you Mommy Jane, I continued, your own eyes starting to burn. Because that's what you've become to her. You're not just a yaya, Jane. You're family. You're everything to her. I knelt, right there in front of the food stall, amidst the curious onlookers, the smell of pancit and longanisa, and the festive music. I didn't care who was watching. I took Jane's hand. It was trembling. Jane, noong una kitang makita sa airport, akala ko, isa ka lang anghel na pinadala para patahanin ang anak ko. Pero habang tumatagal, I realized, hindi lang si Sophie ang napatahan mo. Pati ako. Your voice cracked. Pati ako, Jane. You brought light back into my life when I thought it would be dark forever. You showed me how to smile again, how to hope again. Sir Paul, she whispered, her voice barely audible. No, don't call me Sir Paul. Call me Paul. I squeezed her hand. Jane, alam kong napakalaki ng pagkakaiba ng mundo natin. Alam kong marami kang agam-agam. At alam kong nasaktan kita. Pero please give me chance. Give us chance. I looked into her tear-filled eyes. Jane De Leon, hindi lang si Sophie ang napamahal sa'yo. Yelbuvi voice dropped to a heartfelt whisper. Mahal din kita, Jane. Mahal na mahal kita. Silence. The entire world seemed to hold its breath. Even the fiesta music seemed to pause. Jane was staring at me, her eyes wide with disbelief, then slowly, with dawning realization. Then, Sophie, who had been quietly listening, snuggled closer to Jane and said, in clear, determined voice, gusto ko ng mommy. Gusto ko si Ate Jane ang mommy ko. That did it. Jane let out a sob, mixture of joy, relief, and overwhelming emotion. She looked at me, a watery, beautiful smile finally breaking through her tears. Paul, she said, trying out the name. It sounded perfect on her lips. Hindi ako handa noon. Natakot ako. Akala ko hindi ako karapat-dapat. Akala ko sasaktan lang ulit ako. She took a shaky breath. Pero ngayon, Paul, habang nakikita ko kayo ni Sophie, habang naririnig ko lahat ng sinabi mo. Her smile widened. Ngayon buo na ako para sabihin. I repeated, with my heart soaring. Yes? She nodded, laughing through her tears. Yes, Paul. Yes. I pulled her into Jinwei's arms, right there, with Sophie's kiss between us. I kissed her, deep, passionate, promise-filled kiss that tasted of tears, of pancit, of hope, and of a love that had overcome all obstacles. The crowd around us erupted into cheers and applause. Parang biglang nag-slow motion ang lahat. Just then, fireworks lit up the night sky above Lokban Church, exploding into a kaleidoscope of colors. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. A rainbow. Our rainbow. Sophie giggled, pointing at the fireworks. Look, Daddy. Look, Mommy Jane. Rainbows for Rainbow Bunny. Jane and I looked at each other, our hearts full. Yes, anak, I said, Vivi arm securely around Jane, holding her close. Rainbows for all of us. This was not just a happily ever after. This was a new beginning. A beginning filled with love, laughter, and the promise of a family, finally whole, under the colorful skies of Lokban. Ang babaeng pinatahimik ang iyaking si Sophie, ay siya ring babaeng nagpatibok muli sa natutulog kong puso. Ang babaeng pinili ni Sophie. Ang babaeng pinili ko. Ang babaeng mahal ko. Si Jane. Lilway Jane. Mahal kong mga mambabasa. Una sa lahat, mula po sa kaibuturan ng aking puso, maraming salamat. Salamat sa inyong oras, sa inyong pagsubaybay, at sa pagsama ninyo sa bawat kabanata ng kwento ni Paul, Sophie, at syempre, ang ating bidang si Jane. Ang bawat tapik ng keyboard, bawat pag-iisip ng susunod na eksena, ay ginawa ko ng may ngiti at minsan, may konting luha, dahil alam kong may mga tulad ninyong nag-aabang at sumusuporta. Habang isinusulat ko ang nobelang ito, para na rin akong naging bahagi ng buhay nila. Naramdaman ko ang stress ni Paul sa airport, ang kaba ni Jane sa harap ng bagong oportunidad, ang kilig sa mga simpleng tinginan, ang sakit ng mga hindi pagkakaunawaan, at higit sa lahat, ang dalisay na pagmamahal na namuo sa kanilang mga puso. Nais ko talagang makalikha ng isang kwentong hindi lang basta romansa, kundi isang salamin din ng mga pamilyar na eksena sa ating buhay, yung mga iyakan at tawanan, yung mga biglaang desisyon, yung takot na sumubok muli at yung pag-asang laging nariyan. Sinikap kong isama ang mga elemento ng ating kultura, mula sa jeepney ride na sana naisip kong isingit, sa init ng samahan sa barangay fiesta, hanggang sa init ng pamilyang Pilipino, para mas lalo ninyong madama na atin to. Sa kwento ni Paul at Jane, sana'y may napulot kayong ilang aral at inspirasyon. Na ang pag-ibig ay dumarating sa hindi inaasahang pagkakataon, at minsan, sa mga taong hindi natin inaakala. Na ang tunay na paghilom ay nagsisimula kapag handa na tayong buksan muli ang ating mga puso, kahit paminsan na itong nasugatan. At ang pamilya, hindi lang ito tungkol sa dugo, ito'y tungkol sa pagmamahal, pag-aalaga, at pagtanggap, tulad ng kung paano pinili ni Sophie si Jane bilang kanyang Mommy Jane. At higit sa lahat, na kahit gaano pa kadilim ang nakaraan, laging may bahagharing naghihintay, laging may pag-asang sisikat. Kailangan lang natin ng tapang para harapin ito at ng pusong handang magmahal muli. Kung nagustuhan niyo ang kwento ni Paul at Jane, kung napangiti, napakilig, o marahil ay napaiyak kayo, sana iibahagi niyo rin ito sa inyong mga kaibigan at mahal sa buhay. At syempre, huwag kayong mahiyang mag-iwan ng inyong mga komento at saloobin. Ano ang paborito niyong eksena? Sinong karakter ang tumatak sa inyo? Anong aral ang napulot ninyo? Gustong-gusto kong malaman ang inyong mga iniisip. Ang inyong mga mensahe ang nagsisilbing inspirasyon at lakas para sa akin na magpatuloy sa pagsusulat ng mga kwentong tatatak sa inyong mga puso. Muli, isang taos-pusong pasasalamat. Hanggang sa muli nating pagkikita sa mga pahina ng imahinasyon. Nagmamahal. Ang inyong manunulat.